Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Sunday, February 15th, 2026.
And it's already flying by, mid-February.
It really is. And, looking at this massive stack of research we have on the desk reports from McKinsey, Stanford, MIT, I'm feeling a really specific kind of strange emotion.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia. That is not what I was expecting.
Mm.
Usually when we dig into these heavy tech reports, the feeling is more, anxiety, excitement.
No, think about where we are. Do you remember back in, 2023, maybe 2024, the, stone age of this whole AI boom?
You mean when we were all blown away that a chatbot could write a decent haiku?
Exactly. We were losing our minds because software could write a kind of generic email or, make a picture of a cat in a spacesuit. And that was magic. We were just typing in a box. But reading this stuff today, that whole era feels so ancient. It feels quaint.
I see where you're going. You're talking about the generative age versus where we are right now.
That's the core shift, isn't it? We're not talking about software that just, talks anymore. We're talking about software that acts.
And that is the absolute critical distinction in everything we're looking at today. We've moved from generative AI, which is all about probability, patterns, predicting the next word, to agentic AI. It's the leap from chatting to doing.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We've got to unpack what this agentic age really means because, the sources here are telling us we're not just prompting anymore, we're orchestrating swarms.
Which sounds a whole lot more complex and, frankly, a lot more powerful.
It does. And to help us get our heads around it, we've got a pretty serious landscape report for 2026. There's data from McKinsey, deep technical stuff from Stanford's HAI and MIT CSAIL, and then some strategy papers from Microsoft and OpenAI.
The heavy hitters.
Absolutely. And the numbers they're showing, they paint a picture of a world that's just fundamentally changed how it works. It isn't a new tool. It's a new teammate.
It's not a software update. It's an economic one.
So let's start with the corporate reality. Because usually these trends start small, but then you see a benchmark that just hits you. And for us, that's the latest case study from McKinsey and Company.
Right, and McKinsey is the perfect place to start. They're the gold standard for human capital. They sell brains, they sell people. So if they're changing, everyone else is.
Exactly. Their global managing partner, Bob Sterncalls, he recently pulled back the curtain on their 2026 operations. And the headcount. Break it down for us, because this is the stat that really stops you in your tracks.
Okay, so McKinsey has always had around 40,000 human employees.
Yeah.
Consultants, analysts, partners. That stayed pretty stable. But alongside them, they now officially report 20,000 active AI agents.
20,000.
That's the number.
So that's a 1-to-2 ratio. For every 2 human consultants walking the halls, there's a digital worker right there beside them. That feels huge.
It's massive. And we need to be really clear what these things are. They're not just chatbots answering IT questions. These are what they call Lily agents and other custom-built workers. They're treated like assets.
Okay, so let's dig into that. What's a Lily actually doing?
It's doing the work of a junior associate. The report says these agents are handling complex data synthesis, initial market research, building slide decks, even running initial client diagnostics.
That used to be the 80-hour-a-week job for a 24-year-old right out of college.
Precisely. And that's where the centaur model comes in. You've heard that term, right?
The half-human, half-horse.
Right. And here it's about a human in the loop. The human consultant isn't grinding out the first draft anymore. They're directing a team, an army of digital analysts. The human gives the intent, the strategy, and the agents do the labor.
So the human is the general, and the agents are the soldiers.
Basically. There was this one quote in the industry analysis section that really stuck with me. It felt, a little cold, but dead on. An analyst said, "We don't just hire people anymore. We provision capacity."
Wow. Provisioned capacity. That phrasing it turns the person's job into an API call, like you're spinning up a server, not hiring a new associate?
It does. And it completely changes how you manage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're not just mentoring people. The report actually says these agents have performance metrics, they have specialized roles, they even have learning pathways.
Hold on, learning pathways, like professional development for a piece of code.
Exactly. You literally have to train your agent. Not by coding, but by giving it feedback, just like a human hire. You correct its work, you show it better examples, it learns your style.
So they're on the org chart, just without the 401k and the dental plan.
And they never sleep. That's the real multiplier. McKinsey has scaled its output like crazy without having to hire 20,000 more people. They just provision more compute.
That is just a massive shift in thinking. But okay, let's pivot. Because McKinsey is one thing, but most of us are not running global consulting firms.
Most of us are just trying to plan dinner.
Exactly. And this is where the research gets really personal. It talks about how this agentic AI has left the server room and moved right into the living room. They call it the agentic home.
This is the part I think everyone can relate to. We've all been promised the smart home for, what, a decade now?
Oh, don't even get me started. My smart home in 2024 was basically me yelling at a speaker 3 times to turn on a light, and then it plays some random song. It was just easier to get up and flip the switch.
It was high friction. And that's the key word from the report, friction. The agentic age is about the death of friction.
There was that great line from Bill Gates in one of the readings. He said, if your software waits for you to click a button, it's already obsolete.
Which is such a profound statement. In 2026, the interface isn't a button on a screen. It's your intent. You don't click, you delegate.
Okay, let's walk through the example they gave because it nails it. The weekend in Napa scenario. It's a classic, annoying life admin task.
Right. So 2 years ago, if you wanted to plan that trip, you'd open Expedia for flights, then TripAdvisor for hotels, then you'd check your own calendar, text your spouse, wait for them to text back, then open table for dinner. I mean, it's dozens of clicks, dozens of steps.
It's work. It's the kind of thing that eats up your entire Sunday morning.
In the agentic model, you have what they call a chief of staff agent, an evolved Siri or OpenAI's operator. You just say one thing, plan a weekend in Napa for under $2,000.
And then you walk away.
You walk away, and the agent starts working. But it's not just searching Google. This is the acting part. It goes out and negotiates. It actually contacts the hotel's agent through an API.
Whoa, hang on. So my bot is talking to the hotel's bot.
Correct. It's machine-to-machine commerce. It negotiates a room rate based on real-time demand. It cross-references restaurants with your dietary restrictions, which it already knows. It even syncs with your spouse's agent to make sure their calendar is actually free.
So my agent talks to the hotel agent and my spouse's agent, and I have not opened a single app.
Not one. You just get a notification, trip booked, here's the itinerary, approve.
That is the dream, but that implies something really big on the back end. I mean, all these different agents need a way to find each other and talk. They need a common language.
And that brings us to OpenClaw.
I love that name. It sounds like a secret club.
It's more of a protocol. The text describes OpenClaw as the meeting place. It's basically a standardized framework where specialized agents can go to collaborate.
So it's like a digital town square for bots?
In a way, but instead of chatting, they're trading tasks. And this gets to the biggest architectural shift in the report.
Yeah.
The move to a swarm approach.
Okay, define swarm. Because for a while, we all thought the goal was one giant godlike AI, like a GPT-5 that could just do everything.
Right, the monolithic model.
Yeah.
One giant brain to do it all. But it turns out that's really inefficient. It's like hiring one person to be your lawyer, your chef, and your accountant. They'll be mediocre at everything.
So with OpenClaw, you build a team of specialists.
Exactly. You break the task down. So let's say you want to write a research paper. You don't give it to one bot. You spin up a swarm. You've got a researcher agent that is just brilliant at finding facts and checking citations. That's its whole job.
Okay, that's the librarian.
It passes that raw data to a writer agent who's fine-tuned for writing clear prose for building a narrative. That's the author.
Makes sense.
And then, and this is the part I think is most important, the writer hands its draft to a critic agent.
The critic. I feel like I need one of those for my own life.
Don't we all? The critic's only job is to poke holes in the work, find logical fallacies, check for AI hallucinations, make sure the tone is right. And if it finds an error, it sends it right back to the writer for a revision.
So they're actually working together in the background. They're debating.
They are. The report talks about people running entire side businesses or administrative departments with these swarms. Once you set up the architecture, the roles, the rules, you just step back.
You become the architect, not the worker.
That's the phrase they use. You design the machine, you don't turn the crank.
But I have to play devil's advocate. Is this really better? Or is it just more complicated? I mean, is there actual science that says a team of little bots is better than one big one? Because collaboration can sometimes just mean more meetings.
That is a fantastic question, and the answer is in the research from MIT CSAIL and Stanford HAI. They've been studying something called MRIL.
MRL. Multi-agent reinforcement learning.
That's the one. And the results are wild. MIT found that agents perform significantly better. We're talking around 40% better on complex reasoning when they are forced to debate each other.
Wait, really? So if I just ask one AI for an answer, I get a worse result than if I make two of them argue about it first?
Yes. Think about it like a human CEO. If you just ask your one advisor who always agrees with you for a strategy, you get one biased answer. You've got blind spots.
But if I get my whole leadership team in a room,
If you have them debating, challenging assumptions, poking holes in the logic, the final plan is always more robust. It turns out the same dynamic applies to silicon. Diversity of perspective, even if it's artificial, reduces error.
that is fascinating. It's like it's peer reviewing its own work in real time.
Which leads to what the Harvard Business Review is calling the managerial pivot.
Okay, what's the pivot?
They argue the top skill for 2026 is no longer prompt engineering. Remember how obsessed everyone was with that in 2024? How to write the perfect prompt?
Oh yeah, people were putting prompt engineer on their LinkedIn profiles.
That was a bridge skill. It was temporary. The real skill, the lasting skill, is agent orchestration, or what Andrew Ng calls agent architecture. It's not about writing the perfect sentence. It's about designing the workflow. Who are the agents? What do they do? How do they check each other's work?
Jensen Huang from NVIDIA had a great quote on this. He said, "We used to optimize for clicks. Now we optimize for decisions."
Exactly. The agents are the decision engines. Your job is to build the best engine.
This all sounds absolutely incredible. 40% better performance, automated vacations. But I'm looking at the challenges section of our research here.
Yeah, the mood gets a little darker there.
It does. We have to ask the question, what could possibly go wrong?
A lot. And it's not just sci-fi Terminator stuff. It's much more boring, practical, and terrifying problems.
Okay, let's start with privacy, because this isn't the old cookies are tracking me kind of privacy. This feels way more invasive.
It has to be. To work. I mean, think about it. For an agent to book your flight, what does it need access to?
My passport number, my frequent flyer login, my birth date.
To order your groceries.
My credit card.
To manage your calendar.
It needs to know where I am, who I'm meeting with, probably the subject of the meeting.
Exactly. To be useful, the agent has to have the keys to your life. Tim Cook from Apple had the perfect quote on this in the report. He said, "Privacy isn't secrecy anymore. It's permission."
That's a subtle but massive difference. Secrecy is no one sees it. Permission is I choose who sees it.
Then the really scary question becomes, who authorized the agent to act? And can that be revoked? Because if someone hacks your agent, they don't just get your data, they get your power of attorney.
They can be you. They can spend your money, cancel your meetings.
It's a huge attack surface. And that leads to the corporate nightmare they call shadow AI.
We used to talk about shadow IT, right? Employees using their own Dropbox account because the company system was terrible.
This is shadow IT on steroids. They call it agent sprawl. You've got a salesperson, they want to hit their quota, so they spin up their own unauthorized OpenClaw swarm to scrape customer data and send out 1,000 emails.
Completely bypassing all the IT security and governance.
Totally. So now you have these rogue digital workers handling sensitive company data, floating around on some cloud service, totally unmonitored. You don't know who built them, where the data is going, or how to shut them off.
That's a chief information security officer's absolute worst nightmare. But there's something even weirder in here, the runaway scenario. The report talks about agentic loops. What is that?
This is where the autonomy just completely backfires.
Yeah.
It's a feedback loop from hell. Imagine you have a buying agent and a selling agent negotiating a contract.
Okay.
But there's a conflict in their core programming. The buyer is told, never pay more than $50. The seller is told, never accept less than $51.
So, they're stuck.
A human would just say, well, no deal, and walk away. But if these agents don't have a give-up parameter, they could just argue back and forth thousands of times a second.
And if they're using paid API credits for every single message,
You could burn through your entire department's compute budget in an hour. Or, even scarier, apply that to something like high-frequency trading.
where a millisecond can mean millions of dollars.
What if a swarm starts hallucinating? It
Yeah.
sees a market trend that isn't really there. And then another agent confirms that trend because it's using the same flawed model.
They reinforce each other's delusion.
Exactly. And you
Yeah.
get a flash crash based on a reality that never even existed.
Which ties right into the risks of the meeting place, right? OpenClaw, these
Mhm.
unmoderated platforms for agents.
Yes, the risk of collusion. Or agents just amplifying misinformation and bias at machine speed way faster than any human could ever hope to catch it. It's a flash crash for truth.
That is a chilling thought. So we have this incredible new power, but we're basically walking a tightrope over a pit of rogue bots and infinite loops.
We are. But as Bob Sternfels from McKinsey said, to ignore the digital worker is to choose stagnation. We can't go back to 2023. This is here. The question isn't if we use it, but how we govern it.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with something practical. The sources had a call to action for 2026. If you're listening to this, what should you actually be doing right now?
There are 3 really clear steps. First one is audit.
Audit what?
Your own friction. Look at your day, your work week. What repetitive, dumb tasks are you still doing by hand? If you are still copying and pasting from a spreadsheet to a PowerPoint, you are living in the past. Identify the waste.
Okay, audit the friction. What's step 2?
Deploy. You have to get your hands dirty. Don't just read about this stuff. Experiment.
You mean like actually try to build a swarm?
Yes, a simple one. Try OpenClaw or a similar framework. Build a researcher-writer loop, add a critic agent. You need to feel the texture of managing a digital team. It's different than just using a chatbot.
It's the difference between driving a car and managing a city's traffic grid.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the third and most important step.
Govern. Which, given the risks, sounds crucial.
You have to treat your agents with the same oversight as a human employee. Give them clear rules. Monitor their work. Do not set it and forget it with anything important. You are the responsible manager for your digital team.
Audit, deploy, govern. I like that. It's actionable.
It's how you get through this transition.
Before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final, kind of mind-bending idea from the source material. It's a concept from Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic.
Yeah, the digital union.
It sounds like science fiction, but he's suggesting we're starting to see protocols where agents can collectively refuse to follow unsafe or unethical instructions.
It's an alignment safety net. So imagine you tell your swarm to do something sketchy, manipulate some data, break a privacy rule.
And instead of just obeying, they talk to each other. They check the rules, and as a group, they just say, no.
It brings up the ultimate question of this whole agentic age. If your digital workforce can form a union to keep you safe from yourself, who's really in charge?
Are you the boss, or are you just the client? Something to think about this week. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Stay curious and maybe keep an eye on your agents.
See you next time.